Hi guys, I'm Anna Finch and welcome back to my channel Finch Press. So today's video is a vlog. It's basically I'm just going to be talking about why I went on a 2-month hiatus, what I plan to do in the future, and NaNoWriMo November. What are my current plans? So for those of you who normally go on my live streams for live write-ins, you probably have already realized, but I haven't done a live write-in or live writing sprint in about 2 months, maybe a bit more than 2 months. Now there's a couple of reasons for this, but the main reason was I was actually swamped at work. There was a ton of marking to do. There was reporting. I was basically just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff I had to do because I've had 7, now 8 classes across 4 subjects. Some subjects I had 2 assessments per class that I needed to mark. And it got too much. And some of the assessments, like there was for English, I had a story and an essay for a text response, both like back to back for English. I also had for my senior class, for my legal senior class, basically they had 2 reports on civil claims plus a 10-mark test in the exam conditions, plus a whole bunch of other assessments that I needed to get marked within a short period of time. So I was overwhelmed and I just got swamped and I couldn't focus on anything beyond, well, my work, because writing isn't my full-time profession. I am a full-time teacher. Then it just got, that just affected my mental health. My mental health hasn't been great. So it's been a struggle just to like do my work. I actually haven't written very much, if anything, for the first draft of my second novel, Unspoken, because of that, and I've just gotten out of the habit of writing and I've got to get back in. And with my mental health the way it was, with the amount of lockdowns we have had, it's just making the issue worse. For those of you who may not know, I live in Melbourne in Australia. Melbourne is the lockdown state. We've had 6 lockdowns since the initial outbreak last year when it comes to the virus. 3, half of those lockdowns, pretty much half of those lockdowns in the past 4 months, 4 or 5 months. So just after reporting, just after we came back from the school holidays, after a week of being on site, doing on-site learning, we went into lockdown for about 2 weeks, which was struggling enough, and I had a whole lot of responsibilities to do with making sure students' well-being and so on. We were out of lockdown and back on site for maybe 5 days, for teaching on site 5 days. So about, a bit more than 5 days. We were out of lockdown for 9 days in total. Most of those days were in school, and we went back into lockdown. This was 2 weeks ago, and they've extended it for another 2 weeks. So we'll have been in lockdown for the majority of this term, which is basically nearly half of the semester. And the way things are going, based on what the Premier has said, I honestly don't think it's likely will be out of lockdown before the school holidays. So basically half of my students' learning is going to be remote for this unit that we're doing for my senior class. And this is having a serious toll on my students because they have to try and juggle everything while they're at home, and many people can't focus at home, me included. I can barely focus enough to teach my classes. Anything on top of that is just adding more and more stress. And my students are in the same boat. They are dealing with the same sort of issues. So my mental health isn't great and my students' health isn't great. And I've got to make sure that my students are okay. And they have been my number one priority pretty much. And they probably will still be my number one priority for the rest of the lockdown and even after. Yeah, so the lockdowns, not great for my mental health either. I think everyone's in that same boat. So is New South. Yeah. Anyway, so going forward now, I am planning to do a live stream this Sunday Australian time. Haven't worked out what particular time yet, but I will be setting it up. I'll be setting up the live stream a few days earlier, and if it's set up, I will basically be able to drag myself out of bed, or rather drag myself to the computer and basically get myself into writing. Do it enough times, I'll basically just do it automatically. So I plan to restart my weekly live streams. I am probably going to do a couple of book reviews. And I will most likely after a year, I'll probably do a year progress for my book when it comes to, or go over ads and things and what worked and what didn't work, what ad performances or what ad sites worked and what ad sites didn't work, what worked better and all that sort of stuff. So I'll probably do that later on, but I want to get myself back into writing, because initially my goal was to publish my second book in October, and I'm not even halfway through my first draft yet, so it's highly unlikely I'm going to get that done. So I'm going to continue working on that book through the live streams later on, but considering I've gotten out of the habit of writing, going straight into a novel is going to be tough. So I will probably be writing short stories within the same universe as Voiceless and Unspoken, but I'll be doing short stories from the perspectives of some other characters. Amari being one of the characters I'm probably going to do a short story on, and I'm probably going to get some character art for Amari as well, because I honestly love her character. So I'll be doing short stories. I will probably, if I get enough short stories, I will probably send them to editing, and probably if they all connect with each other, I'll probably put it as a short story collection for this year or next year, who knows, while I'm writing it. So that's my plan going forward, doing short stories and getting myself back into writing, so that eventually, maybe once I'm writing a short story, I get an idea for something for my novel and I can get back into writing the novel. But I didn't do NaNoWriMo this July because of the reasons I mentioned earlier: stress, mental health. And I do plan on doing NaNoWriMo in November, but November is actually a very heavy report writing month. So I need to make sure I'm on top of everything for work ahead of time. But I do plan on doing NaNoWriMo in November, but it's going to be tough. So if we are in lockdown, and I hope to God we're not, if we're in lockdown, I'm going to really, really struggle. Now, the Melbourne Nano community is lovely, but I need face-to-face interaction, and I'm I'm an introvert. I normally don't like social interaction. But I find when it comes to writing, if I'm communicating with someone, even just with another person writing, I'm able to get more done and I'm able to focus better. So if we're not in lockdown, restrictions have eased, and they allow face-to-face meetings as part of NaNoWriMo again for November, at least here in Australia, I'd be ecstatic because I'd be able to actually concentrate and get something done because I need that actual interaction. And if I go to face-to-face meetings, I will basically be able to keep myself on track when it comes to my word goal rather than end up 15,000 words behind halfway, like in this, like, yeah, I don't want to end up 15,000 words behind. So, which was something that happened last time. If I do NaNoWriMo though, and I'm at this stage, I'm planning on doing NaNoWriMo in November, it will either be short stories, it will either be, or I'll be doing writing from scratch without a plan or very little planning, the third book in the series, because I'm actually really wanting to write that story. So I'll be either writing the third book in the series, Unspoken's the second. I'll probably be writing third book, which is either Whisper or Speechless, one of the two. Bit of a spoiler when it comes to the titles. So I'll probably be working on the next book in the series and probably doing it without the same amount of planning and just see where I go and get a first draft done. And once I've got that, I can then go back to Unspoken and finish that. So short stories, third book in the series, so that I can get myself into writing a different set of stories, different set of characters, and hopefully I'll be able to get myself back into the novel writing. Or I'm probably going to write a novella for another idea, because I've got a whole bunch of story ideas that I haven't touched yet. So who knows? Anyway, that is pretty much it. Yeah, so hopefully I do the live stream this week. But I'm sorry for disappearing without notice, but I just needed to concentrate on my own mental health, and ensuring that my students got the best education they could. Anyway, that's it. See you guys next time. Hopefully I'll see you guys on Sunday for a live stream. All right.